So my agenda today will be to stress and explain what we call effective and written communication. That is number one. Number two is effective public speaking. Number three is creative presentation. Number four is presentation of reports. And number five is human factors involved in report writing. And number six is understanding the ICT packages for effective communication, report writing communication. Now, the word public speaking is the same word that Americans use in place of presentation as it applies to written. It means speaking to a public, and public can say to be more than 2 or 3 people. Effective is all about getting results from our activity, our endeavor. So when we say effective public speaking, it means getting results. And what makes for our getting results is that the person we are speaking to, or the persons or the group of people we are speaking to, the public we are speaking to, understand exactly what we are speaking to them. If we mean A and they understand it to B, we are not effective. And when we talk about creative presentation, we are going to look at how do you create a presentation in a way that it will marvel people. In a way people will say, wow, this is good, this is great. In a way that you can hold people to their toes, saying this is a wonderful presentation, it's a nice speech, it's a nice write-up. You can't be a creative speaker, a creative presenter, if you don't read, if you don't read, if you don't think creatively, and if you do not listen to people. You do not listen to people. And if you do not also practice, but the first three are superior. Creative presentation are product of good practices. On the second day, which will be tomorrow, I'll be looking at these fundamentals of writing, how to write good error-free reports, proposals, and minutes. So as it is today, let me look at what we call communication. What do we really mean by communication? What do we mean by information? What do we mean by reports or reporting? In other words, I'm going to look at concepts, definition of things. The word communication is about transferring something from a point to another, mostly information. Mostly information. Moving things from one point to another is a vital part of life and our business, our education, and anywhere we encounter people. Communication is a vital part of our life. It's a vital part of our life. And incidentally, we communicate more than any other thing we do in life. We communicate more than any other thing we do in life. We communicate by means of talking, by means of writing, by means of gesture, facial expression, even body language. This one we call gesture, facial expression, or body language is classified as non-verbal stroke non-written communication. It's possible to tell somebody you want to drink water without talking or without writing it, just by showing your face somehow. If the person is used to you, he will know what you mean. We call it gesture. We also call it facial expression if it involves face. We also have what we call body language. Many years ago, it was on media, the president body language. The president body language, which means there was a way the president was not talking, or the way he was talking that people were reading meaning into. You see people saying that the president body language does not show he means it or he meant it. That means there is a way people read meaning in your action. Body language means that people are reading meaning into your action. It doesn't mean that you are dancing. It does not mean you are dancing. It doesn't mean that you are shaking your body. But it means your inaction to a thing or your certain action is speaking volume. Again, people communicate by what we call visual. And these are where people use images, arts, painting, photographer, logos, videos, film. Every logo is a means of communicating through visual. Anywhere you see an elephant with a pattern, Somebody is telling you police are around here because that is the logo of Nigerian police. Are you getting it? An elephant drawn with a button on it, it tells you that police is here. Anywhere you see Full Gospel logo, it tells you that there must be something to do with Full Gospel here. Maybe there is a chapter of Full Gospel here. That is what we call visual communication. You are using a drawing, a photograph, a video, or a film to show that something is happening. You can also communicate through electronic means. So remember, we have looked at verbal communication, which involves talking. We have also looked at written communication, which is involve writing, note taking. We have also looked at non-verbal, non-written, which are gesture, facial expression, body language. We have also looked at visual, which is use of paintings, photographs, logos, videos, pictures, images. Then the fifth one is electronic. This is where you use wired or wireless means. Telephone. These days, telephone are more wireless than wired. Emails, cable TV, satellite, broadcasts, and even television in communication. We call this electronic means of communication, e-communication. So these are some means of communication. Remember, business connect with businesses in several ways. Business can build and install communication equipment such as fax machine. These days, organizations are not having fax machine because email are displacing it. In fact, email has displaced that. Very few organizations still retain fax machine. Video camera, CD players, people put messages on CD and send across, PCs. Businesses are connecting to businesses by creating some of the messages or content of those technology they carry, such as movies. People send messages through movies, through books, and through software. The third one is memos. Memos are short form for memorandums. Letters, email. Email are short form for electronic mail. Circulars, bulletin, notice boards, or oral communication. And you see that this number 3 is mostly what your organization might be using. But all of these are means people communicate. All of these are means in which people use in communicating. The other one, number 4, is through satellites. We are also going to see that even the technologies are made possible because of the satellite. Now, not only human beings communicate, animals also communicate. Very important to know this. Not only human beings communicate, animals communicate. Bees dance in a specific pattern that tell other members of the hive where they can find food. You know, bees, what produces honey. When they want to tell other members of their hive, that is where they live. Hive is where bees live. When they want to tell other members of the hive that where food can be found, they dance in a particular pattern. Elephant emits a very low pitch sound below the level of human hearing when they want to call other members of their group over miles away. When elephant wants to call another elephant, he emits a sound very low to what a human being can hear, but other members of elephant's family will hear it. Chimpanzee uses facial expression and body language to express dominance or affection for another chimpanzee. So when chimpanzee want to attract another chimpanzee of opposite sex, he uses facial expression or body language to express his interest and affection to the other. So when we talk about communication, it's a very deep-rooted thing. It's a vital part of our existence. It normally goes in this form. In early days, we are familiar with this. When things happen, they beat drum. Even in villages, when they want to call a meeting, they kick some gong, or they beat drum and people gather. Fire and smoke signal can be a way to call people. When people see smoke in the heaven, they know that there is a meeting in the village place. In other words, they use smoke or fire to let members of the village to know that they are needed in the village square. Message can also be attached to an animal. It is possible to attach, if you know that your cock normally go to Nketi's house, or your dog are fond of going to Nketi's house, you can write a message and tie on that dog to Nkechi. So messages can attach to the legs of animals or to the body of animals, and so that as they move, the person where the animal gets to can know that in this way you are sending the message. Flashlights for sheep is a message that the sheep is approaching. So messages can take different form. Messages can take different form. It just requires you to be creative. But we are going to look in our modern times, the ones you can easily generate in office place. And these are what we call the ones that go through paper and printing, postal services, telegraph, telephone, radio and television communication, computer and satellites, communications and the disability sign language. This is where we're going to particular more on the ones that you can easily deploy in the office. The first four I have said: drumbeat, fire and smoke signals, a message attached to the legs of animals or pigeon light are not easily, flashlight are not easily deployed, and they cannot be deployed in the office settings. But in the office setting, we are going to look at how paper are used to communicate. Postal, we may leave out telegraphy because email are taking over those things. We will look at telephone. We may leave out radio and TV. We will also look at using computer because of the email, and we may not bother about sign language because all of you are well designed and created wonderfully. Are you getting it? Okay. So see what normally go in a process in which people want to communicate. One, somebody originate the communication. We call the person source. Any person that originates a communication process is called the source. Something encode that communication. We call it the encoder. That communication has a medium it will take. Whether it will go through the air, whether it will go through the paper, whether it will go through wired or wireless, any of those things are called medium. Where that message eventually gets to is called endpoint. The person who receives it at the endpoint is called the receiver. The person that receives the message has a way to tell the source that I have received the message. So that thing he does is what we call a feedback. The person that receives the message, when somebody sends you a WhatsApp message, it is there. But once you open it, something tells the person that you have read it. It gives two blue good signs. So when the person sees it, he will know you have received it. When the person sends that message, you haven't received it, he will know from his own phone. But once you have received it, even if you haven't read it, he will know. Because the phone will tell you that it has been delivered. When it was not delivered, the phone will let the person know that it was not delivered. It is pending. The same way it goes on phone communication, the same way it goes on paper. And it's the same way it goes on even in our oral communication, but most of the time we don't even appreciate that. So our communication goes through these 5 segments of process involved. Source, that is originating the communication, decoding and encoding the communication, that is interpreting the communication, putting it in the way it will pass through. And most of the time what it means is that we put it in the signal form it will take, and so that it can pass through the medium, and then it is received at some point or endpoint. And the person that receives it gives a feedback. So we can say that effective communication is a communication that achieves its result. Let's look at effective oral and written communication. When I transfer an idea or information from point A to point B, and the people in point A and the people in point B are on the same level of understanding, they are on the same level of comprehension, they are on the same page, we say that one has achieved effective communication. So you can see that most people communicate without communicating effectively. If the person you send a message cannot understand it the way you understand the message you sent to the person, two of you are not on the same page. Though you have communicated, you have not communicated effectively. So very important. What causes people not to communicate effectively? What makes people really not to communicate and be on the same page with the person they are communicating? Many things, as 7 as this. Number 1 is what we call noise. noise. Noise is not somebody dancing. It's not somebody playing music. It is what is going side by side with my communication, which is distracting the person. If I use a rough paper right to my GM, that rough paper is a noise. Because instead of him focusing on what I have written, he will be focusing on the way the paper is torn. Are you getting it? So that piece of paper I have used in writing to him is a noise. It's a distractor. It is causing distraction. Anything that causes distraction of your listener listening to your message distinctly, that thing constitutes a distraction. Another aspect of it is what we call distortion. How many times have you listened to radio and the radio was doing as if rain is falling? We call it noise. Okay. But if two things are standing side by side with that radio, as if two of them are saying the same thing, but one come and the other one come, just sat like that, we say that is a distortion. But that time you're listening to radio, you do you can't hear well. Yeah, you say again, you talk, you hear. You say, this is noise. But if whatever is being said clearly, but something is following it parallelly, we say this is distorted. This thing is trying to fight your listening to this thing. So somebody's handwriting can be noise. There are people that you cannot read their handwriting freely. Before you finish reading a line, you have spent 2 minutes. Noise is anything that obstructs your free flow to reading or to communicating very fast and at ease. Number 2 barrier is wrong medium. If I want to write to my GM and I write it and post it through post office, but I'm in the same office with the GM, 2 of those, what I have done is letter writing. But I am using a wrong medium. I would have used memo, not letter writing. That is, I used a wrong. Now, using that wrong medium, letter, can make a GM to misunderstand my writing or my intention for writing. The GM will be busy thinking of what on earth will I need to go to post office and send a letter coming to him when I would have used email. Or, if I don't want to use email, I use memo. Anytime you use a wrong medium, it's like you are in the same room with somebody. A medium to talk to the person could have been to speak direct. But instead of speaking direct, you use the phone, record your message, and give the person to listen to the message. It's a wrong medium. You have communicated though, but there was problem with effective communication. And what caused it? You use a wrong medium. Okay. You can also have a problem with wrong language in case you are using verbal communication. Wrong language. And language is a very deep thing. Wrong language. When you use a wrong expression, wrong language, unexpected words to be used, it can hinder what you want to communicate. Example of wrong language, I think you can get it without giving an example. You can imagine what a wrong language can be without giving an example. Okay, so I go to the next one. Let me go to number 4, lack of feedback. Lack of feedback means somebody received a communication but did not tell the receiver that I have got the message. Oh, I understand. There is a way police people normally do it. They say, Roger, Roger, over and over. That's to tell you that we got it. Okay. Anytime police people say, Roger, over, it means they have got the message. Okay. And it is common in force, which means the importance of feedback is very, very strong. It cannot be overemphasized. Anytime communication is established and you get the message the way the person sent it, let the person know. You can say that by saying, okay, or I understand. Are you getting it? You see, that is where people say, I understand, or yes, or exactly, or definitely. That is how this words came into being. It is a way of acknowledging that there is a communication, it's a feedback words. A barrier can caused by a wrong message. Wrong message. A message can be wrong because it is not meant for that person. A message also can be wrong because it didn't come at the right time. A message can be wrong because it was not sent by the right person who's supposed to send it. If a message that needs you to talk to GM makes you to send a messenger, it can be a wrong message because the person that sent that message was not expected to be the person who should send it. So always know matters that will require you directly doing it. Many years ago, when I started working in Africa Oil Field Services, I think that is 1996. The day I started work, my immediate junior took me around to the home managers and the supervisors of the company and the directors. By the time when she finally took me to the human resources manager, the human resources manager used phone and called my boss, intercom in those days. And he told him, Collins, it's not Emilia that we take Mike to the MD. Come and take Mike to the MD. So my boss have to climb up because our office was at the ground floor and the HRM office was at the first floor. He has to climb up and took me to the MD. That could have amounted to a wrong message because it's not, according to the HR, my junior that's supposed to introduce me to the managing director of the company. It's supposed to be a management officer. And it's supposed to be my person who is my own boss, not my own junior. So, message can be wrong. If Emilia had done that thing that my boss wanted her to do at the first time, it would have wanted the wrong message. And the MD would have been angry. He may not have said it, but he would have been angry and he hit back on my boss for not respecting him by asking my junior to send a message. Because my going to see him is a form of a message that we have hired a new person. It's a message. So that thing can lead to a wrong communication. A wrong communication also can be caused by a wrong receiver. A wrong receiver. A wrong receiver, very, very important. If there is a message for the GM and incidentally you got the GM, he said that he's not in the office and he won't be in the office and by one matter or the other, that you should send that message across to his house, to him across to his house. Incidentally, you get to the house, you didn't see him and you didn't see the wife, and incidentally, you give that letter to the messenger or to the house cell. Chances are you might be risking a wrong receiver. Chances are you might be risking that message a wrong receiver. Wisdom requires you to have called and told him, I didn't see you. Incidentally also, I didn't see madam. Do I come back with the mail or the message? If he now trusts any other person, he will now give you the mandate to give it to whoever. But it is not for you to take that decision of giving it to another person. In fact, even by the time when you didn't see him, you're supposed to call. Can I give madam? It will be the person. Don't assume that being a wife that is qualified to handle that mail. Remember, that mail is not marriage mail. It is office mail. And that office mail is addressing office issue. You don't know whether his wife is aware of it or not, or whether he wants him to be aware of it or not. So a wrong receiver can block a message. A wrong receiver can block a message. And other things can be other natural factors. So let's go to how do we win with effective communication. How do we win? If we know that these things are blockades to effective communication, then how do we win? How do we conquer these barriers? Primarily by reducing these hiccups. These barriers to effective communication, we will be on the path of winning. Okay. By removing the hiccups, the barriers, we're on the path to achieving effective communication. But let me divide this communication into what I call normal communication and workplace communication. Let me divide the whole of communication into normal, which is like our regular communication, and then classify another group into what I call workplace communication. Workplace communication are communications that take place in the working place. Why the one I call normal now will be communication that generally takes place in your day-to-day activity in life. So let's look at how do we reduce effective communication, the one that is now normal. 8 things, or let's say 9 things you need to do. 9 things that you need to do to reduce the barriers to normal communication. Number 1 is this: ensure your communication is without noise. Anything that can constitute noise when you are communicating, ensure that you do away with it. Anytime you want to write something on a paper, take a clean sheet. Don't tear paper and write to people and ask them to take this thing. Over time, I see people, when they want to write something, maybe a telephone number, this, they tear a little paper. It's a wrong thing. Take a full paper. They didn't make grave that if the cause no fill the grave, they're not going to cover them. Whenever you write to somebody on a trash, it is saying something about your image. It is saying that that person's image is a trash image. When you write to somebody on a dirty paper, it is saying something about you, and it will block the communication. It will block what you want the person to see about you. Maybe that you're a wonderful person, but the person is still in a dirty paper. When you want to speak to persons, make sure that things that can distract that person's attention are done away with, so that the person listening to you clearly. Seek to make people to understand what you want to communicate or do, because you are not far from doing what you communicate out to people. So ensure that your communications are without noise, and that you communicated through the right and acceptable channel. Knowing the protocol of communication matters. In anything you should communicate on, know the right protocol to follow. One of the biggest laws in life is the law of protocol. Always know the right protocol to follow, because anytime the protocol is not used properly, you have caused another issue. Before a court will look at a matter, they will look at, first of all, what we call jurisprudence. Jurisprudence is like asking, is this the right protocol to follow? Is this court supposed to have the rights to handle this matter? So if the protocol is already wrong, people will not like to listen to it. Number 2 point you should always consider when you want to remove the barrier is always consider whether your body language is helping you or hindering a discussion. We live in a world where people say a lot of it doesn't matter. And these are also issues we can use to tell people who may not understand that. Your body language of being serious should also reflect in your communication. You can't tell somebody you're serious when your body language is showing the person that you are playing. You can't also tell somebody that you are playing when your body language is serious. Make sure your body language don't give a different signal from what you want to say. And that is why in fashion world, in official parlance, conservatism is the way to go. That is why in office setting, official parlance, conservative dressing is the way to go. Conservative dressing is what we call corporate dressing. Corporate dressing. If you go to bank, you see that being displayed at a very good level. It is because they don't want to give the different message that they can protect your money when they can dress also in a jean, which can show them to be cowboys. Are you getting it? Yes. In that case, they are meant to be in a tie and in a suit and in a corporate skirt, which is the hallmark of corporate jingoism, which is corporate landmark of being conservative. Dress in what will not cause people to be distracted and lose your communication. Stay open to an issue, even if it appears to go against your values. People who rebuff or go into what we call outbursts of anger, high temper, makes people to lose the communication they want to communicate. Are you getting it? People who get easily angry, outbursts, make people to lose track of the message they want to send, because they Don't stay open to an issue of knowing that even their good intention may be misunderstood by another person. That what it requires of them is to be open so as to understand why the people are misunderstanding them so that they can better put their case. Avoid potentially controversial topics at the beginning of a discussion. As we are going to look later in becoming a good speaker, one of the things you stop when you are to begin to speak is to avoid controversial topics. You can't begin a controversial topic by any discussion, or it is not even permitted to bring up a controversial topic in public speaking. Because anytime you bring out a controversial topic, you distract your speakers, because everybody is so much tuned to what he believes on that issue. Controversial topics in public speaking are in the area of what we call religion, politics, and sex. Those areas are not allowed as issue to be raised at the beginning of public presentation or discussion. So the law there is avoid it. Keep your language simple and present only one idea at a time. To remove the barrier to effective communication, discuss one idea at a time. Don't try to discuss 10 things at a time. When you discuss many things at a time, you lose the attention of the person you are speaking to. And when you lose the attention of the person, you have lost the essence of that. So keep your language simple. Use the language the person can comprehend and present your point one at a time. When your short one has been understood, then you can go into the other, but don't present many at a time. If you do not understand a point, do not pretend that you do. If you do not understand a point, do not pretend that you do. Prepare to ask questions. Speak slowly and clearly. Public speaking is not newscasting. The language of newscasting is that you speak fast. You have watched newscasters, isn't it? They read news fast to meet up with time, because all news are time frame. All television program and radio program are time constrained, heavily time constrained. The broadcast world is time constrained in everything they do. So each time somebody is on broadcast, he is fighting against time. But when you are in presentation, you take your time. What do you take your time to do? We will look at it fuller. You take your time to introduce yourself, especially to an audience that don't know you. Are you getting it? Yes. If you have to make a report on the Full Gospel directors, on how you have done in the last 6 months, and they are giving you 20 minutes, because they will always tell you how many minutes you're going to speak, and they are giving you 20 minutes. Comfortably take that 3 minutes to introduce yourself and what you have been doing before you go into the topic. What you are going to tell them is not as important as they are knowing you and what you do. They are knowing you and what you do is more important than what you're going to tell them. So if they don't know you and what you do, the other thing you're going to say, they won't get it. The chances are sometimes speakers are in a hurry to start their topic to people who don't know them. That's an error. If the people don't know you, there is nothing to rush you. Relax. Take your time to introduce yourself. And in speaking slowly and clearly, don't speak the way you are not used to speaking. Did you get my point? Yes. To be a public speaker or a presenter, don't speak the way you are not used to speaking. Still be yourself. Each time you try to be another person, you will make a mistake you will not recover. You will make a mistake that you will not recover. You can still be yourself, speak slowly and clearly, and there you go. Number 9 point in normal work, in normal communication, is empathize with your receivers, your colleagues, their needs and their wants. If I want to speak to you, I put myself in your shoe. I put myself in your shoe of knowing what really do you want from me. What really do you need? That is the only way I can now speak to you and it become profitable to you. If you are speaking to somebody and you didn't put yourself in that person's shoe, the person will not get what you are speaking to him or her. For instance, the same thing I'm speaking to, if I'm talking to directors of banks, it can be the same message, but not in the same way again. Are you getting it? Yeah. Because I will also now put myself in their own shoe. And maybe they will be faster in understanding. Shall we use another style? But the same message. If I have to speak to governors and this thing, the same message, but not in the same way again. So the number 9 point is that anytime you're speaking to people, empathize with them. Empathize means put yourself in their own shoe and imagine what they need from you and what they want from you and toe that line. Let's look at workplace communication. Workplace communication are communication that take place where you work. And there are barriers also where you work in the manner in which you communicate. To communicate effectively at workplace, these 6 things only need to be arrested. We treated 9 things under normal communication. And incidentally, the things you treated in normal communication, some of them will still find this expression here. Because workplace is first of all normal before it becomes workplace. Workplace communication are normal with human beings before it becomes extra workplace. In workplace, do these 6 things to deal with the monster of barriers to effective communication. Number 1 is understand the official channels open to you. Understand the official channels open to you at your office and how to use them. The official channel open to you could be walking straight to the GM and expressing your points. To another person, it may not be the official channel. The official channel to the person might be to go through you. So if that person goes straight to the GM, that person has goofed. That person has made an error. That person has caused what can result to ineffective communication. Because the official channel open to him is supposed to be, see Mrs. Patience, let her be the person to take your matter to me. The official channel that may be open to you may be use desktop notes to write your message and drop. When I was working, I think when I was doing IT in a company called Halliburton Nigeria Limited in those days, even if MD asks you to give him a cup of water, they will ask you, please tell MD to write it on paper. They have a policy of what they call avoid verbal communication, AVC. Avoid verbal communication. Even most of the time, many people were sacked because they made a mistake. MD can take you at random and say, give me that Bible, and you can give him, if he asks them, sack him. If MD asks you to give him Bible, you look at the next table. If you don't carry your own booklet, because everybody's supposed to carry his own AVC. If you don't carry your, look for the next table, pick the one there. MD write it. MD will not say, give me a Bible. Which means the official channel open for communication in the organization is write it down. Write it down. WIT. Write it down. There was a year the official team of National Conference of Jehovah's Witnesses was write it down. Okay. So in workplace, understand the official channel that is open to you and understand how to use it. I may not know the one open to you, but you know the one that the authorities have made to be. And understand it and know how to use it. Number 2, understand the interrelationship between various subunits. There are many people in organization who have problem understanding what we call organogram. Organogram means how authority flow. And at the base of it is how the communication flow. Every organogram is 2 line direction. One is authority line, the other one is responsibility line. The other one is communication line, the other one is reporting line. If, okay, here is not even as, if somebody, okay, the 2 organizations are existing here, that is State Directorate and the National Directorate. Now, if somebody at the State Directorate do not remember that it's a state directorate, and it does something and they brings it for approval in the national directorate. Don't you see that person have failed to understand the interrelationship between the various subgroups? The fact that they are in the same building does not mean that they are the same organization. So always understand this in any organization and anywhere you find yourself. Understand the rules governing operations and the conduct of staff. Understand the rules. There are many spoken and unspoken rules that govern workplaces. Understand the company policy with client and stakeholder. Policies are guides organizations develop that guide the way things are done. Understand the company policy with clients and stakeholders. Identify existing barriers to communication. Identify existing barriers to communication in your department and organization as a whole. Identify moral and ethical, religion and cultural issues that disturb free flow of information. When you identify this, it makes you to really master and handle organizational communication, which is what we call workplace communication. These 6 things, is there anyone that looked off? None? No. Identify moral and ethical or religious and cultural issues that disturb free flow of information. There are some cultures, certain things disturb free flow of information. There are some barriers that certain organizations have that obstruct free flow of information. Let's take a look at report writing. Some time ago, I wrote a book I call Report Master. That book is no longer there. But from that book, I said that a good report is easy to recognize, very easy. A good written letter is very easy to recognize, and a wrongly written letter is also easy to recognize. What makes something to be a good report to be easily recognized? The title is sharp, precise, straight to point. I've written close to 20-something books, and all the titles of my books are sharp. Some titles give me 8 months thinking over. In fact, the toughest part of writing a book is coming up with the title. Because in coming up with the title, you are thinking of what will I call this book so that it will carry the message of what I want to write. So every good report that is easy to recognize have these 4 things. The title is precise, sharp, and it gives the information. It is informative. So if you are writing a letter to Full Gospel Lagos through the GM, and you want to write to them about what is going to happen in November annual convention, and you title it, you title it the way Nigerians dance, you will discover that it will not be informative to them. As to imagine what really do you want to write. So let us all say that you want to write on moving Full Gospel ahead. Maybe that is the main content. But you title it as the motto that will carry Full Gospel into the next millennium is coming. Can you see that that title is not precise? It's long and it's not precise, it's not direct as to capture that you want to talk to them about the new phase of the Full Gospel or the next phase of Full Gospel. Now, the second thing that makes a good report recognizable is layouts and format. If you see the letter I sent to you, you see the super informative. Your format in writing a letter or any form of report makes that letter to be read easily. Format refers to how you separate sub-issues and how you know what to style, what should be italicized, what should be indented, what should be underlined, what should be left normal, what should be bold-faced. It also shows margins you are going to leave at the top left, bottom, and the right. Some time ago, I used to have a secretary that if you give her something to write, she'll be economizing the paper. She will change the margin and move the margin almost at the top. I said, why do you normally don't allow the paper to balance? She will say that I want all of them to enter. I discovered that this is a mentality of not having enough. Why not focus more on the beauty of your formatting than trying to manage? So I discovered that she's always pitying paper. So what would have been on 2 pages, she will be struggling to put it in 1 page, ending up destroying the formatting of the paper. And I asked her, how will you give a letter that have less than a ½ inch at the margins? You go and give it to a company. It is showing poverty spirit. So a layout and your format should be well organized. Situation may permit a situation like that, but it is not always. Most of the time, it is on the demand. If the people want it to tell you that, please make it 1 page. Yes. You know that it is on the demand. Then the binding is easy to handle. The open flats to reveal both text and diagram. If the people open the book, it should be easy to, or the letter should be able to reveal text and diagram. Reading a well-written report can be pleasurable. 3 things must make it so. The style is accurate. It is fluent and concise. It has headings to indicate content of each section. It has headings to indicate content of each section. 10 laws of report writing. 10 laws. And if anything is a law, you take it serious. Because whenever you go against the law, you bear the consequence. Law number one is that the reader is the most important person. You can't write any report without considering the reader first. No report is important when you do not consider the reader. What does it mean? If I'm writing a report that the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria will read, I will know that the President received not less than 50 people every day. And it's the same every day that he will use to look at that report. So I will make that report to be 2 sentences or 3. So I will make sure that that will be only 3 sentences, 3 or 4 only. If I know that the President is not so much into deep English, I make sure I use this and words. But if I know that Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe is the President, I may be more free to use English that sound like Queen's English. What am I doing? I'm considering my audience. I'm considering the reader. My consideration makes him the king, because if I write to him and he cannot get my message or get communicated, my essence of writing has been defeated. Number 2 law is keep the report as short as possible. Keep the report as short as possible. Make your report not to be unnecessarily voluminous. Make it short. How do you make it short? Go straight to the point. Go straight to the point and write what you want.